Story time. Don't fall asleep. You guys ready? Okay. All right. So the first journal entry in the Traveling Scientist's Journal is entitled On Capturing a Mammoth. So like I said, caveman times. There are also woolly mammoths. So it starts with, in the spring of that year, I was invited to the land of the much sought-after woolly mammoth, a land dotted by the now familiar high wooden towers of the mammoth captors. In ancient times, the mammoth had been hunted simply for its meat, but its subsequent usefulness in industry and growing popularity as a pet had brought about a development of a more sophisticated and less terminal means of apprehension. Okay? So, what's going on? Any ideas? There was a lot of big words. So they said there's these giant towers, right? And the picture makes them look kind of like this. Do they look particularly sturdy? Not really, no. Okay. So there's these towers that are all over the place. So think like big giant field with like 20 of these. Okay? Now, it said that they are now trying to capture the mammoths instead of killing them, right? So they're not just hunting down the mammoths anymore. They're trying to find some way to actually capture them. So, any ideas of what they might use these for? What? Riding the mammoth? These are significantly taller than the mammoths. Okay, so if we had a mammoth here, the mammoth would be probably like, that ear's probably too big, but okay. So a mammoth is like this size. Good? So that gives you some sort of scale. These towers are pretty tall. So we're probably not just like jumping on the mammoth and riding it around. Okay? Any other ideas?
What is the tower used for?
Mm-hmm. So the tower is how they capture the mammoth. No idea? Should we read some more and see? Yeah. It's not a bad idea. Close. They're not quite that sophisticated. All right, should we read some more and find out? Okay. So, the way they capture them is each unsuspecting beast was lured to the base of the tower, from which a boulder of reasonable dimensions, so they got a boulder up here, was then dropped from a humanitarian height onto its thick skull. Once stunned, the mammoth could be easily led to a paddock where an ice pack and fresh swamp grass would quickly overcome hurt feelings and innate distrust. Okay? So there's a whole bunch of people up here who are pushing this boulder off, and the boulder falls and lands on the mammoth's head. Pretty much mostly knocking the mammoth out, but not quite. And then they lead the mammoth off as it's dazed and stumbling around. Cool? All right. Can you see any problems with this? I mean, you could definitely miss. Yeah? Yes. Exactly. Getting the boulder up there is not going to be easy. In the book, there's a nice picture of them trying to pull another boulder up. and it's got a string over it. There's like 5 or 6 people up here pulling on the rope. And then there's like a whole bunch of people down here, like, yeah, underneath it, standing on each other's shoulders. Yeah, not particularly safe. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of people trying to get this boulder up there. So getting the boulder to the top, not necessarily the best situation, right? So they're trying to get it up there, and then they just drop it off. Probably going to be fairly hard to hit the mammoth perfectly, right? You also have to make sure your boulder is not too big or not too small, right? Because if it just makes the mammoth mad, it's not going to be good. If it kills the mammoth, then you don't have the mammoth to sell for a pet for somebody. So, yeah, there's a few problems with this, aren't there? So the problems that they had included, let's see. The biggest problem was that of simply getting a heavy boulder to the right height. This required an almost Herculean effort, and Hercules was not due to be born for several centuries yet. The second problem was that the mammoth, once hit, would invariably crash into the tower, either hurling its captors to the ground or at least seriously damaging the structure. So definitely not good things, right? You probably don't want to be hurled off of the tower onto an angry or very dazed mammoth that's stumbling around, right? Probably not what you're looking for. So, you want to hear the traveling inventor's solution? Okay. After making a few calculations, I informed my host that both problems could be solved simultaneously by building earthen ramps rather than wooden towers. The inherent sturdiness of the ramp would make it virtually indestructible should a mammoth fall against it, and now rather than trying to hoist the boulder straight up, it could be rolled gradually to the required height, therefore needing far less effort. Okay, so now they're making giant earthen ramps, and they're rolling boulders up this giant earthen ramp. Still probably not the easiest, but a lot easier, right? Have a good day, guys. We will talk about this more tomorrow. Any guesses as to what simple machine this is? Inclined plane. Have a good day, guys.
Bye.